is Outnumbered. I'm Andrea Tanteros, and here today, Sandra Smith, Jedediah Bila, Kennedy. She doesn't have a last name, and today's hashtag one last name like Madonna.
Right.
Wow. Cher.
She of one name.
Sting.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Webby.
This is your first time on the couch.
I'm Webby now?
Yeah.
I like that. I'll go with that.
Your
My first timer.
You nervous? Excited? How do you
Excited. I am literally outnumbered, but am I outgunned? I think I am.
We're really anxious
I
to
know
have you.
Smitty too long and you too long and you way too long. And Kennedy and I know each other back from the old days. We'll just call it
That's
that.
right.
Well, we're excited to
Music
have you,
radio
David.
days and MTV days.
We got a big news day, so we're going to go right here minutes from now. We expect President Obama will go there if he breaks any news. But David, what do you think about this lawsuit? I said Democrats crying foul on this, but I think that John Boehner has sound constitutional ground to do this. What do you think?
And Jonathan.
Jedediah. I mean, President Obama has been, in my opinion, an extra constitutional president, and he has overstepped his bounds, and they're also arguing that he's not enforcing the laws. So do you think it's smart for Republicans to go there?
I think it's a problem only because Republicans typically aren't solution driven. So if you're going to challenge the president on Obamacare, have an Obamacare alternative in your back pocket that you can put forward. I think the most important thing for Republicans right now is to be solution centered, and I think it is an easy way for Democrats to say, oh, they're focused on a lawsuit,
To the other side of the couch, what if they get a court order and the court order says, President Obama, stop doing what you're doing, and he says, I'm not going to listen to it?
I think
what about that precedent? What about that precedent?
On recent appointments from the Supreme Court, in addition to impeaching Obama, that's the message that they're putting out there. It's not the Republicans not serving in the House of Representatives who jumped on the impeachment, but they're talking.
Always
talk,
I did too.
So that he can set the stage to actually do something worthy of impeachment.
Right, and was Congress doing
sound legal ground?
I think they're on
President
sound
Obama
legal
has
ground,
tipped
and I think
power
the
towards
exercise is
executives.
very important for the American people
But then own
to
the
see this.
messaging on the lawsuit, because even on the lawsuit, Republicans aren't owning the messaging, and they're allowing the left to run away.
They're
with
absolutely
that.
terrible at Republicans.
By definition, David, a Cold War is intense political, military, and ideological rivalry between nations, short of military conflict. Are we or are we not entering?
I dare you. We have to stop assessing him from our Western perspective and look at what he wants.
I would agree with that 100%.
It told you a lot about the president, about how he views the situation, and about his hesitance to be declarative before they speak. Or is there some sort of Hamas sympathizing agenda going on here? What is happening?
Yeah, Democrats have had a long history sympathizing with the Palestinian goals. What's shocking to me is this is such a far cry from U.S. policy that we've seen in past decades. As you heard Candy Crowley say, I thought Hamas was a terrorist organization. Hillary Clinton has said that before. They're not saying that, Jedediah. And so what's troubling to me is that implicit in everything that you hear Hillary Clinton say explaining away Hamas, and Nancy Pelosi saying they're a humanitarian organization with missiles, because there's so many humanitarian organizations with missiles. What's implicit in those statements are that they have the right to exist and carry out this terror campaign, which only encourages Hamas and frankly makes everything worse. And I think that's what Democrats have done.
Now, David, when
Hamas, and I think we have to be careful to separate Hamas from.
This is the gap. This is the second gap machine to Joe Biden.
No, but okay, but listen, everything Nancy Pelosi says, although it's inflammatory, it is meant to
being a terrorist organization, and her response was.
Her response, that's what I'm going back to. Is like, we can't get away from
a full-throated answer.
The Botox on the lips makes it tough to talk.
Not only did she answer,
You know what they're doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're trying to cover their booties for the birthday.
Guys, it's not just world leaders that are
Hamas in any of those comments by these A-listers,
and
by
that's
the way.
my question. Are celebrities, Sandra?
Why she is singling out Palestinian children because.
And those oppressive regimes that treat women and children.
What it wants by having celebrities like Penelope Cruz and Madonna do this, right? That's exactly what they want. They want to win a PR battle. And I'm sorry, Madonna, row, portrait and courage. You don't want kids to die. Nobody wants kids to die.
Right.
But to your point, she has a huge platform. They have major PR power.
Huge influence.
If they really want kids to stop dying, they could put public pressure on Hamas, which is the last thing that it wants, to stop killing kids.
Okay,
well,
by the way,
actually, they couldn't. Here's what Hollywood is. Hollywood is essentially a lot of people, not all of them, living in a bubble and speaking to the basically willfully uninformed. So let's speak to Americans, to the children, and the people who follow them. Learn.
In fact, a lot of places to be objective anymore. AP and Reuters, you know, there are a couple of them where if you're talking.
The question to see unbiased reporting.
Yeah, and it's why Benjamin Netanyahu, I think, has gone out to do the Sunday shows to get his point of view out there. Because it's clear either the celebrities aren't getting the story or they're just not concerned with it. And here's the best analogy. Do you remember that video we played here on the network of the big fat kid that was getting punched on the recess ground over and over?
Yes.
And he finally fought back and threw the kid on the ground, and then the family sued him. That's a very simple anecdote to what's happening here, that Madonna and Penelope Cruz, I hope you could understand that analogy. And if you want kids,
I can't understand her accent.
Not many of us
put
can.
public pressure on Hamas, but they're not doing that.
You have, and you have Israel's housing and construction minister saying to Obama, leave us alone, go focus on Syria. That's not only humiliating, but that tells a lot.
I want to go down the impeachment road because I want to stay on immigration and I want to talk strategy on this. If the president does this, Jedediah, is this to gin up the base, and won't it have the reverse effect on Republicans? Their base will be ginned up as well?
Their base will be ginned up, absolutely. I think this is handing Republicans a midterm victory.
Can I just throw a little common sense comes here?
But that's not the pressing problem that keeps people
You know what
up
the
at night.
pressing problem is? Security.
Spending billions of
Security
dollars.
of our southern borders.
Well, I don't know if it's about that, but it's spending billions of dollars. Yeah, that's right, girl. Stop me now because I'm going to
I do predict it will only exaczate the situation because it won't seal the border.
And by the way, more Republican solutions if they want to win on this issue, and then more lawsuits.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Right. New evidence in the search for a mother of 2 young kids who vanished after running some errands. Why police don't think her husband is behind Jennifer Huston's disappearance. Plus, Stephen A. Smith paying the price for
only 2 games. So, yeah, go ahead, Sandra. You're the sporty one.
I'm always jumping in on this one because, listen, I don't think there's anybody, and I'm going to speak for you all on this couch. I don't think there's anybody sitting here today who thinks that this is going to be detrimental to Stephen Smith's career.
No, Stephen Smith is
Tell me
saying
if I'm
stuff
wrong.
like this, and by the way, said the same thing about Chad Johnson in 2012.
No, he's going to take a week off. He'll sit on the bench. ESPN will look like the good guy, and Stephen Smith will be. His notoriety will go up.
Okay, but isn't ESPN?
More people will know him.
Aren't we guilty of being the suspension police because
the speech as opposed to the behavior as a society? Definitely not a First Amendment.
No, but I think people are okay to get outraged if you're saying
it's not free speech. Let ESPN do what it wants to do. It's tougher than the NFL is. This issue is domestic violence, and really, it's not right for anyone to hit anyone. I mean, we're having these discussions.
That's actually
should a woman hit a man? When is it
point.
acceptable? When she's provoked? No, when she's not provoked. How about never?
Yeah.
How about nobody hit anyone?
I agree with you completely, and I think that's the message that if Stephen Smith were
fair court and court of public opinion, and that's where we really ought to leave
Speaking of the court of public opinion, Rice showed up to Ravens practice.
He was
standing ovation
to applaud.
I mean, does it surprise you? Do you remember how Chris Brown's fans
and celebrities?
It's true for anyone in a relationship. If it gets to the point where you're ready
and if they hit you and apologize, it's time to leave.
No, she didn't leave. Yeah. She married him after.
She married him.
That's what apologized, and that's not a surprise if you've seen what happens in domestic abuse.
Because and that is the issue at hand. Why didn't she leave? Whether it was money, whether it was, she was mentally abused by him and she couldn't leave him. That's the real issue we should be talking about, but nobody is.
You know what? No, that's the real issue they should be talking about. We're outside observers. It really comes down to her and to him to look at this thing and say, we're going to talk about it. If they deal with it as adults, honestly, which I think you're right on,
did in a public
then we can have it.
Though, David, I'm sorry. He's a public figure.
Yep.
It is a serious issue. We talk about this war on women. We should be allowed to talk about this issue.
No, I'm saying they need to be involved in it.
Once we start doing it's a private matter stuff.
No, if it's
then
public,
we start
do
to
it.
get. Then we start to play.
There are
their
no
game.
private matters here on Outnumbered.
I'm in the estrogen ocean.
We've got the banana boat. Welcome to
Hold it, I'm wearing yellow. Is that a smear on my tie?
No, it's called it's the couch, baby. The only thing it's missing is yellow
sitting
leather.
next to Andrea in yellow?
Breaking developments.
Our truth. Yes, thank you very much, Sandra. Breaking developments in the IRS scandal.
I had the nasty grams.
I had a boss who had circus breath. And I think we all know exactly what that means because
Off the company pier.
Hey, David Webb, join us on Outnumbered Overtime after this show. We've got to leave it right there. We're going to throw it to Happening Now, starting now.